Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker, and I've been getting a lot of phone calls about pre-construction and should I be buying pre-construction right now? Generally, my answer is no. You should not be buying pre-construction right now. Why is that? Well, I think that the cost that pre-construction is offered at right now is really high compared to resale for the most part. Now, I want to add in over here, guys, like a lot of this stuff that I talk to you guys about is definitely from research I do on the market because I'm researching the market every single day, but it's from my own experience as well. I have bought a ton of new construction projects before, whether I own them now or I've just lived in them and sold them and moved on to the next one. I've been there, I've done it, I've done the research on it, and fingers crossed, like I haven't gotten burned on any of it. The main thing is that I'm always looking at what are other properties selling for around that area. And if I can say that, hey, during my purchases in pre-construction, for the most part, I have actually bought that pre-construction property maybe at the same price, but in most instances less than what the resale market was at that point right now. Where we have so much more inventory on the market right now, where resale sellers are even trying to move their homes and new construction is priced really high, I really don't see the purpose in buying new construction. And there is a caveat to this all, okay? Because I've been there and I'm talking again from experience. So last year, I ended up purchasing a unit at the Pickering City Center, which is gonna be built right in the property of Pickering Town Center, or Shops at Pickering now. I ended up buying there because it was multi-purpose for me. At that same time, for the same square footage, could I have replaced that resale? 100%, I could have bought it resale. It kind of in a similar area, but not exactly on that property. And that was my point. I wanted to be right on that property for, even saying that you're right beside the mall, the closest building to the mall, and then the connectivity that you would have from there. So that was one reason. The other reason, guys, I also bought there is because I have a long-term play with it. Whether I end up using it, another family member of mine ends up using it, or it just becomes strictly an investment property, I have so many different avenues of how I can actually deal with this property. So that's the reason I ended up purchasing it. But now, if you generally go around and look at new construction and you're comparing it back to the resale market, I really don't see that really driving very well, unless like you have a specific reason of why you want to buy that property. One other reason I actually don't like that right now is, regardless of like not even just the purchase price that you would be paying right now, the market is still unsettled, it's unstable. Like we really don't have an idea of where it's going to go from here. Some people say it's going to go down, some people say it's going to come up, some people say it's going to stay neutral. The point is that there's no clear direction. There's no like huge economic boom here that we could say, okay, well, looks like X, Y, and Z is happening, so everything's going to keep chugging along for the next 3 to 5 years. We don't see that here. In fact, the manufacturing numbers have come down. The unemployment numbers are higher. There's a lot of factors that are telling us that, hey, maybe it's not going to be clear sailing moving forward. So why would I want to commit to a future purchase price? And let me give you an example. Like if we look at the North Pickering area, that Seton area in general, okay? Right now, you're going to go buy a freehold townhouse, 2-story, with a builder for around $1 million, maybe $1.05 million, but I could buy that house resale for like $950, $975. That's only maybe a year or two old. So why would I be paying a future value of, call it $1.05 million, when I don't even know what's going to happen in the future, when I can secure basically the same house that's 2 years old for $975? I'd rather take that $75,000 savings on a 2-year-old house, know what I'm getting myself into right now, and not have to worry about it down the line, because I don't think that's enough of a delta to trade off, especially again because of where we are in the market. Now, you might say, hey, I get it, you don't like new construction right now, but what would it take to change that? Well, I think what it would take to change my opinion on that is that obviously pricing. I would want to see the pricing kind of come to a reasonable level of resale. Maybe even the same value as resale. At least then I can say, okay, fine. I'm pretty secure with my down payment, my income, and everything else like that. And a year from now or 18 months from now, I think that's going to be fine. And I have X, Y, and Z I need to do, maybe even save up towards your down payment to that point. But as long as I'm buying at the same number, then I would feel comfortable. I would also feel comfortable if the builder is willing to throw in bigger incentives, okay? So some builders will throw in like credits on closing costs, maybe a finished basement, maybe they're gonna figure out a deposit structure for you that actually works. So I think this is where we are starting to head with new construction, because I feel like with new construction, builders are gonna be very hesitant to lower down the price. big builders, I think, will actually even close their doors at this point and say, fine, we're not getting things moving right now. We have holding power, because that's what the key to real estate is holding power. They're gonna say we have holding power and we don't actually need to move these units. Great if we do, but we're not gonna move them below this price. Why is that? Again, it's unstable of what's happening in the market. Like, how do you know what your material cost is gonna be in the future? How do you know what your labor cost is gonna be? So there's so many variables that they have to keep the price high so they can actually hedge their bets on what's gonna be happening. Another thing that we haven't talked about is even development fees with the city. So even that is a factor where builders are raising the prices. Like if we look at Pickering, the development charges in Pickering have gotten sky high. Like, I don't wanna misspeak over here, but like if you buy a lot that doesn't have a house on it right now, we're just talking about a single house that you wanna build. I think the development levies on this thing right now are like north of like $120,000, $150,000. Like, guys, that's just for signing paperwork. There's nothing to it. So that's how much money you would even have to spend on just getting through red tape, if you want to call it that. So I think that the builders are going to have to do better on prices. They're going to have more incentives, and maybe it will start to look better to buy pre-construction once we see the resale prices come up to match the level of where the builders actually want to sell at. Now, I always say this, and it's not just for you guys to contact me, but everyone's situation is actually very different. And this new construction could be the perfect thing for you. Like if we look at something like 1515 Pickering Parkway and you're looking at coming into the market, well, guess what? They have an awesome deposit structure where you could pay monthly until this building is going to be built, or they have some parameters around it. So for you, that might actually be an awesome thing. And the pricing, for the most part, is kind of reasonable for what they are selling. So that could work for you. So I'm not saying all pre-construction is bad. And again, for that reason, I'm telling you guys, I have a link to my Calendly, and I encourage you guys to reach out to me. Book an appointment. Let's have a 15 or 20-minute phone call. Give me some of the information that you're working with, and I can at least give you my honest feedback on how you can move forward, or give you some suggestions of what you can do so you can move forward, even if that is the right thing. Sometimes I get calls from people and we just decide, hey, you're probably not in a good position to this, or you probably shouldn't do this. So if I could give you my 2 cents and it helps you along the way, I'm more than happy to do that. So Calendly link below, book an appointment, let's jump on a quick phone call and I can figure out your situation. And I can't imagine you didn't like this video, because you've made it this far at this point if you're watching this still. So throw a like on it, share it with your friends, subscribe, because I have awesome content. And until next time, guys, remember one thing: get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.